Welcome, everybody, to episode number 36 of How to Become a Sales Warrior. I'm your host, Eddie Pods, my co-host,
Mark Simson.
We have a very special guest today. Show the book. Show the book.
We do have a very special guest today. We'll get into
Joe
it.
Sarachek, Distressed Investing Playbook. We'll bring him on in a little bit, but before we get there, Mark, why don't you tell our audience why we're here?
We are here. You know, it's interesting. We have all types of different guests. This podcast that you started was really about educating the youth on all the different sales challenges. And when we think about sales, if you think about it, we all are salespeople in some special way. And I think that's really what's coming out on this podcast.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, you did the why you're here. Sports moment. Start with that.
This is a good one. We're on a 7-game winning streak right now. You know, we podcast every couple weeks or so. It's been ups and downs. Last couple times we're a little bit down. Right now we're on a 7-game winning streak. I'm sorry, I'm a diehard Met fan, so I'm still now rooting for the Blue Jays as well. So there we go.
That's all right. And I knew you were going to take the positive. I had to take the negative. I know you're a wrestling fan.
You know
losing Hulk Hogan over the weekend, like, it touched a lot of people.
We are actually building a memorial wrestling ring in my yard. For people to come by and drop the. It's amazing how many people wish me condolences on it.
I knew that, and it's like, you know, he was part of my life since day one.
Yep.
You know, and I go all the way back to WrestleMania 1.
Exactly, with Mr. T. Yep.
So it's a long time. So I'm glad we got the positive and the negative, and the Mets have been just really impressive lately. Thank God.
We'll see. July 31st trade deadline coming up, so we'll see what happens.
So I picked up the book last night, and I'm like, what chapter are we going to jump into? And I decided to go to number 15, social media, because from the time I wrote this book to what I'm doing with social media and what you are doing with social media is just way different, way more involved. Yep.
You know, one of the things we always say is get comfortable being uncomfortable. And I don't think we're old guys, but, you know, a little bit more mature. I will say that using the social media and putting yourself out there and things like that, it's definitely a level of, it's different. Right. It's one thing doing LinkedIn versus TikTok versus Facebook.
It's big different.
Right.
LinkedIn's more guarded, more
professional.
Yeah, more professional.
Although you're starting to see some slippage
I'm starting to see a lot of things there.
Yeah.
You know, so I read through the book and just to see how different I am. And one of the action statements, you're going to love this one. Learn before you hit send. What am I sending? Where am I sending this to? Is this something that's going to come back and bite me in the ass?
We've said this so many times, and I'd like to say that I never screwed this up as a younger fellow coming up in the world. But do not let emotions dictate when you hit that send button. 100%. Shit is going to happen. Stuff is going to happen. Things are going to go wrong. You're going to get emotional. And in sales or finance, whatever position you want to call it, you got to take the emotion out of it. Mm-hmm. If you think you're going to hit send, do not wait, calm down, rethink it.
ChatGPT has helped me because I'm doing a lot of help. You know, like I dictate to ChatGPT and it polishes everything up. That I don't have to worry now about hitting send because I got someone looking over my shoulder saying you shouldn't say
that's
that.
a whole. Listen, ChatGPT is a whole other scenario.
Sure.
One of 30 different, even more of what that we should be using now instead of Google or something like that.
So the next action statement is really the tip of the week for social media for new businesses that are, you know, one guy does it all. You know, the buzz is social media. You got to do videos. You got to do this. You got. There's a whole lot of you got.
Content creation.
Content. Yeah. And one of the things I learned from trying to create some stuff on my own was start with a budget. What can I afford for 1 year? Not 3 months, not 6. What can I afford for 1 year?
Right.
What's my budget for 1 year? Can I find someone to do it for that?
Right.
And my experience with people who start and stop things is that they don't see it through.
That's experience with 85% of the world.
Right. So if I'm going to give myself a timeline, or maybe only do 9 months. Okay. I can afford $5,000 for 9 months.
Right.
Budget it. This is what I'm going to do, and hire someone.
And what are you looking to get out of it? Yeah.
What are you looking to get out of it? But if you do it for 2 months or 3 months, you're not going to see that overall return. You're going to think you got ripped off, and then you're going to stop doing it.
No, it's like anything else. You have to stay persistent and consistent. Right. And that's same with social media.
All right.
Let me just add one thing to that, too.
Yeah, go right ahead.
So as if I'm talking to our intern over here, too, and you know, our daughters.
Yeah.
With social media, you know, you and I are talking about content creation. Now, if you think about it for a 17, 18, 19-year-old, say, listen, please be very careful of anything that you put out there now, because the world is different. They say, oh, HR is not
private.
They're not supposed to look at your social media. That's nonsense.
Yeah.
Everybody looks. It all gets out there. So as a youth coming up, and as someone who has a harder time controlling emotions as a young person, you got to be very careful when you put things out there.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm at that phase with my 17-year-old, same as your daughter, that I really can't teach her anything at this moment.
I understand.
Other than putting gas in her car.
I got it.
She got to a gas station, didn't know how to do it. I'm like, all right. Word of the day, likability. I got handed a lead, and I had this vision, and we'll get into it later, that this is a person of power, importance, and I got to relate. I got to relate to him on one phone call, one opportunity, one chance. How's my likability today?
Right.
And that's pretty much any meeting that I go into. How's your likability? Are you likable? Some people don't even realize they're not likable for just whether it be
the way they come off. Yeah,
the way they come off.
Exactly.
My dad's that guy. Funniest guy around. So inappropriate. And he doesn't think he is. You know what I mean? Like he'll say, oh, come on. That's
right.
Like not knowing your audience, not knowing where to. You want to be likable in sales. You have to be likable.
Right. It's our guest, very likable guy, as you'll see.
All right.
Very likable guy, yeah.
All right. Got one more, and then we're going to hit tequila time. Networking tip of the day. Take a risk to connect deeper. If you go into a networking event, and there's somebody there in your sphere that could help, you just think would be someone I want to further along. Well, what kind of risk are you going to take to go up to that person and make that connection, not with the business card jammed in his face? What are you going to do?
There's a way to kind of break the ice, shoot the shit, introduce yourself, get some sort of flow going, and then come in there. The thing that you can't do is not take your shot. Right? You can't not take your shot.
I got invited to a developer construction networking event in Manhattan 5-6 years ago. And me and this gal went, and she told me who all the players were.
Right.
And then you walk into this event in this beautiful hotel, chic place, very cool. You could see who he is. You walk in the door, you know who he is.
Right.
He's the guy with the crowd around him and $1 million suit, and everyone's clamoring there. And I'm watching from afar the whole night. They're all trying to hand him business cards, and I kind of think I gotta do something different. And I walk up and I just start talking to him as if I don't even know who he is.
Right.
Well, 20 minutes later, someone else comes like barging in between us and says, "Can I have your card?" And he's just like, I'm like, "Let's go over here." I said, "Let me ask you a question. Are you on LinkedIn?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Would you mind if I looked you up on LinkedIn?" He goes, "No." And with that, I pulled up that scanner code thing with him. And we changed. We exchanged codes. That was the very first time I'd ever done that in a networking scenario. Right. I'm the guy who walked away with his card. Right. I took that risk. These other clowns were just doing this.
But again, if there's anything that I could tell people, with our dynamic here on this podcast, I am confident I could put you in the middle of any type of crowd.
That's true.
Anywhere, regardless of region, and go from there. I am a natural extrovert that pretends to introvert. I'm a natural introvert that pretends to extrovert. Right. So it's a little bit more challenging for me.
All right, we're going to cut it a little early so we can bring out our guests. We're going to head out to tequila time. When you come back, we are going to have our guest, Joe.
Sarachek.
Sarachek from the Diet.
It's Sarachek Law Firm, and this is Joe's book, which is very well done, and look forward to talking about it.
All right, we'll be back in a minute. Thank you. Play the drums. I gotta play the drums. Skip the drums. Welcome back, everybody. Episode 36, How to Become a Sales Warrior. I'm your host, Eddie Pods. This is
Mark Simson.
And this is our guest,
Joe Sarachek.
Say hi, Joe.
Hi.
All right. So, tequila time is a time to talk about something old that we did away and a new way of doing that same thing. And I chose something that you and I will connect on. Salud.
Salud.
So growing up in the printing industry, we printed books. And I worked at a publisher in Brentwood on Alkire Street for about 3 years. Met my best friend there. And I know about publishing because I was the guy behind the scenes putting together the books, watching it go into the stitch area, getting chopped, getting trimmed, getting glued, everything. But then I was part of the pre-press. All the design, the layout, the plates for the presses, the whole bit. And in my mind, when I went to write my book, that's what I had in my vision for publishing. And then I started to listen to people, and it became less about that, and it became more about Amazon and selling on a website. And you're not going for some big publishing deal that you're not getting, and you're not well known enough for a publisher to do it cheap for you. So we've put it in the I'm gonna publish myself, and that's what I am. I'm a self-published author. My wife is my editor. I paid KPL, whatever this company that was part of Amazon, to put it all together for me. They asked me for some money for marketing that was really beautiful, except it didn't go to anybody, but it was really nicely done. What about yourself? Are you a self-publisher?
So I am self-published. I did have there's a couple of publishers who do academic books, which this is considered. This book was written for the NYU Stern class that I teach, really, but also for just the general public, the general investing public. But I am self-published. I'm really happy about it. One, it's my sweat and toil that, it took me a year to write this. It started, we had 360 PowerPoint slides that I used to teach the class. Every year I updated that. Now transforming that to a book is a whole different level.
Yeah.
As you know.
As I know, I started at COVID, January of 2021, and I said I'm going to write a chapter a month. I got to 10 months and I had 12 chapters ready, and I realized the book was a little light. Need to add some more chapters, go back to the drawing board. And then, going through the publishing process, again, lessons learned, but well worth it. And
I do have, I have an editor who I've paid. I have essentially a publishing staff, let's call it.
So give you some good input.
Who really spent a lot of time. Question for you, I found the last 20% of finishing the book took up, let's call it 80% of my time.
No. See,
Wow.
And it's really funny too. This is a mistake, and this is the coolest thing this is a mistake. This was a sheet that I put out on the table for my family to decide what font we should use for the book.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
and it ended up in the mix of all the pages, and there it came. But I put myself on good timelines, and I got it done sooner than I thought it would. And I'm happy. I'm definitely there. There's no angst with that. Stay. All right. That was our tequila time of the day. Let's get into some business stuff. Mark, what was your best business decision of the week?
Again, I kind of hate to be repetitive, but being patient. Being patient, I'm involved with several different businesses at this point in time, and sometimes when cash flow becomes tight, you can kind of make decisions that are not the best business decision.
Yes.
Sometimes you have to work your way through that and being patient, and I'm very happy, very fortunate that I have the opportunity to do podcasts like this, work all kinds of crazy hours behind the scenes as well. So my best business decision continues to be betting on myself.
All right. How about you?
I couldn't agree more. And it takes a level of self-confidence to do that.
100%.
100%.
It's funny. So I have a law firm. I also have an investment firm called Strategic Liquidity Fund. And in the law, and my wife always says to me, you only have so many hours in the week. And why are you doing low margin stuff as opposed to, well, because you need to pay the overhead, right? And it all comes back to, do you believe in yourself enough that let's call it higher margin or better investment opportunity is going to come?
Right.
And if you believe.
And how to identify it.
Yeah, and how to identify it. Look, we all do things, at times just because, hey, I need to pay. I need to pay the rent. I need to pay the mortgage.
For me, last week, my boss threw me a bone. Thanks, Irfan. Appreciate it. He had meetings with American Dream. I'm sure you both know American Dream.
Yeah.
They connected me with someone from the Beach Football League.
There's a beach football
There's
league?
a beach football.
Okay.
Wow.
It's a former NFL player. What's his name? It was Tully Bain. Anyway, me and him start talking, and he wants to use our storage containers to store the sand for 8 months after they tear down their big production at the American Dream Mall.
Wow.
I run it by my team, and I'm like, this is a bad idea. This is not us. We don't store sand. We store furniture, merchandise. There's no way to funnel it in from the top. This is a bad idea. It's your call, Eddie. Whatever you want to do. We support you. All right, I'll go back to him. I said, this isn't our wheelhouse. I said, what are you doing this weekend? He goes, I'm driving down to Wildwood State Park. I'm like, no way. Why? So what are you doing down there? He goes, we have semifinals for the league. We'll be down there. I said, what if I donated a container for the event? He goes, all the way down in Wildwood? You would do that? I'm like, just so happens I'm going to be down there. Pretty close to where you're going to be. I have some really good friends at the team. I said, why don't I give you a container for a week to use? Check it out, get the sniff test. If you like it, you load your shit back into it, and I charge you $585 to ship it back to the American Dream Mall. I'm straight up about business here. But he's like, be nice to have a container on the beach for a week. Okay. So I jumped through my strategic hoops. I jumped through his hoops. I set this whole thing up. Now I'm on a trip with the wife. We're staying at Caesars at Atlantic City. I said, babe, you got the morning to yourself. I got to go down. She goes, I'll go for a run or whatever. I'll go out for breakfast. And I drive down. My driver shows up early. My ops team shows up early. The police, the escort, everybody's there except this guy. He's a no-show. I left late. I'm stuck in traffic. I'm like, we're getting this done. I took control. I decided this is what we're doing. Made it happen. Got great pictures. I made that decision. I was going to interrupt my day because I thought there was value there.
Sure.
And the value is showing off to my team that I can make shit happen, showing off to a new customer I can make shit happen. We're sales guys. We want to feed our egos a little bit. And when it comes off, and you just get back in your car and you drive back to your vacation.
Right. And it's not about the money today. Right?
No. It's just, it's making the right decisions, thinking outside the box. And I know I work for Pods, but thinking, what could I do? I couldn't solve this problem for him. Let me find another problem that I could solve for him. And he had no idea. Then I have a warehouse. I have 240 warehouses. He goes, you can go to Vegas? We can go to Vegas. Texas? We can go to Texas. All of a sudden the dots are connecting. So, best business decision of the week. Trade show or conference tip? I'm gonna let you go first. You're revved. You're ready.
Sure. So what I was telling you that I have a guy who goes to every bankruptcy and distress related conference.
Now, how many of those conferences?
There's a lot.
Right.
Like he just was at one in Amelia Island. And
tough place to go.
No, and you get to play golf.
Oh yeah, we got that picture.
We have an annual one in Vegas. We have an annual one in DC. But what I've learned, and it took me a long time to learn this, is if you're gonna go, be a sponsor. Don't just be
fly on the wall.
And yes, it costs more, and so on and so forth. But stand out. And that's a basic thing of selling. If you're just going to go and
hand out cards, go to a conference
there, and nobody, so we're a sponsor of these conferences. If you believe a little, you should believe a lot. And if you don't believe a lot, then you shouldn't believe at all.
I got accepted to 2 conferences this past week that we had never been there before, and normally the stuff I go to is inexpensive, a couple thousand.
Right.
One's $5,000, one's $10,000. I went to my boss. I'm like, are we in or we out? We're in.
Yeah.
Made my day. Now I get to go to Nashville in October. I get to go to West Virginia in November. But the commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
What
good.
about you?
Listen, I say I'm going to GSX, if you remember that.
Sure.
So I'll be in New Orleans. My conference work starts now,
There you go.
right? So all the prep work, anything we're going to do, set the meetings up now. Those conferences, you remember we used to do IC together or whatnot.
Yeah.
It was basically, the booths are the last thing for me. For me, I'm a hallway guy. The more meetings I have in the hallway, you set that up now. You know, you're 45 days out, 60 days out, whatever it is. So be proactive, be aggressive, and set your schedule in advance.
Do you
Well-
guys use Calendly or any of these, the scheduling?
Calendar? Nah, I'm not there
I'm
yet.
just an Outlook junkie. I'm an Outlook junkie.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. Me too.
Same, by the way.
Teams.
Same.
Yeah.
Teams.
Yeah.
So for me, it's do your homework. Spend smart money.
Right.
Yeah.
Smart money is, why am I here? Like you said, if you're going to be there, what are you getting out of it for what you paid? Is it really worth your time? Or stand out, like you said. And Mark, you said it before, being uncomfortable.
Yep. No, it's
Walk into the room and own it, man.
it's a theme of this show, man.
Walk into the room and own it. That's all. All right, this is the last one before we get down to the interview part. Big win of the week.
Look, I sometimes these big wins take time. So as I said, Sem Holdings, we've been around 4+ years, and we're just about to land that customer that puts us over the top. So a shout out to my guys, the team. Hopefully we keep going and get that closed out, because that flips us from this place to this place, and we go on from there. So
My shout out is to the Beach Football League. Tully, although we didn't get to hook up, we will. I'll come out to see you at the Dream Mall. What was your big win?
I'd say our big win is we just built a website called SLX Markets to buy and sell judgments, which we buy ourselves as well. And we're starting to see traction. Like a vision is real. And we're starting to see traction. And so I consider that a win. I have a guy, Ryan Volenhals, who built this, and I'm excited about it.
Excellent. Excellent. Big wins everywhere.
Yeah.
All right.
So you want to get into it?
Nah, go right
All
ahead.
right, so let me just explain how Joe and I met. Okay.
Keep it short, laser.
I'm going to try to. So I was at a company called Onsite Access.
I've heard this name before.
Late 90s, you could raise money, clap a hand, whatnot. Clap a hand, we raised $200 million, which was a lot of money back then. Anyway, I was just a junior finance guy. Seemed like I knew what I was doing. We were doing great. Next thing you know, people violated a bunch of different things. Company goes bankrupt. Okay? I didn't know anything. I was booked on a flight on Olympus Air, if you remember that. I was going to go to Australia with Larry, with my buddy. Joe comes in. Joe's involved, does what he does. And I'm a really junior guy at this point in time. Joe somehow sees something in me. Says, hey, this guy seems like he knows what he's doing. Australia trip canceled. Running a company through bankruptcy with Joe as my mentor. It seemed like Joe seemed to like me. Next thing I know, brought a bunch of guys over and joined Tri-X Capital as my foray into boutique investment banking, where I really wasn't trained for it, but Joe was a big turning point in my career. So I really do appreciate that and acknowledge that.
Look, Mark is a born leader.
He is.
And if you're
quiet leader.
It was interesting, this company, because it was around 9/11.
Oh, yeah.
And
That's right.
the whole stress that all these companies, had in tech. And Mark was in finance, and he has exactly the classic credentials for turnaround manager. Born leader. Here's the thing that I remember most about it. Was that he said, you can't just hire me, you have to hire, and it was like 3 other guys.
He's heard this.
I've heard this before.
And I'm like, whoa.
This kid's got balls.
Hey, that's a
That's a
real
lot.
commitment.
Yeah.
And, look, again, with sales, either you're committed or you're not committed.
He knew what he wanted. He knew what he needed.
It worked out. And we'll come back to that. It worked out. But Joe, before we met, you were at a big law firm.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
And
I
so-
started at a big firm. It was unbelievable training. what I saw, and the part of and this is really my expertise. My expertise is in buying and selling highly illiquid assets, not hard assets.
But from law, how
law.
did you get into that piece of it?
So one day, and I tell this story in the book, my boss said, "Hey, we're going to write an article about trading in claims." And I'm like, "What's that?" And what it is receivables in bankruptcy are bought and sold in a private market. And the reality is, why are they bought and sold? If you think about it, like,
isn't it dead money?
You know,
Well,
like the holder of the receivable basically needs cash, and the company that the receivable is against is in bankruptcy, and you can buy that receivable. And I'll just give you an example. Recently, FTX markets. People bought claims against this cryptocurrency market for 10 cents on the dollar.
So the
Those
claim they're buying,
claims-
though, the claim they're buying, that's an unsecured claim, or
That's an unsecured claim.
okay? So that basically could be Mark Simpson. I was a vendor for
Yes, you were a
FTX.
vendor.
I'm owed money. I'm owed $100,000.
Right.
Someone can buy my claim, or I could sell my claim to get some cash for $5,000.
For $5,000 or $10,000. But in FTX, that claim, and there were billions of dollars, today is worth 140%. So 14 times what somebody paid. And even like Scott Galloway, pretty well-known marketing professor at NYU and very successful entrepreneur, he bought claims, and he had nothing to do with FTX.
Really?
Yeah.
It was that for those people who know, it was that obvious.
And it's a part of the market that is less known. It's much more stable than, let's say, the stock market.
Or crypto. You see all these guys pushing crypto, and this is not crypto, but this is a different type of asset class.
Right. This is a different type of asset class.
Okay, so you're at the law firm. How long were you there for?
So I made partner at McDermott, Will and Emery, which the world, and this is like to your sales point. I always say this, like, be careful who you piss off,
Yeah.
because all relationships, if you're a good person, come back around.
Good or bad.
So my law firm the last firm I was at, that I left in '97,
Okay.
I'm now friends with Darren Asman, who runs their bankruptcy group, who's like really like the hottest young bankruptcy lawyer in my opinion. And
How many years did it take you to make partner?
so it took me about 6 or 7 years to make partner. I was there, and I'll tell you what happened is
Gotta stay lasered. Got a lot of questions for you.
I saw my clients doing things that I wanted to do.
Oh, I
with
thought you were
my
going to say things that I
advice.
didn't want you to do. I was like,
that I wanted to do.
gotcha.
And I was like, I can do this. And then I joined an investment firm.
Do you have any Series 3 training on any of those?
You don't. The beauty of bankruptcy is you don't need it.
Really?
It's an unregulated industry. Thank God.
Right. So you leave McDermott.
So I leave McDermott and I joined this firm, Balfour.
Got it.
Jay and Harry.
Yep.
And those were the guys who, when Mark joined me, sponsored this turnaround business we had.
But so when Joe talks about turnaround, there's kind of like very aggressive. Is it fair to say vulture type turnarounds?
Sure.
Okay. So Jay and Harry are very,
Predatory?
I don't know, but very aggressive. It would be fair to say aggressive turnarounds per se, if possible.
Part of the business.
They like to make money.
Doesn't everybody?
But anyway, when Mark joined, we had so much business because it was post 9/11, and we worked on this one matter.
Well, this is true, right? So we had a little. We were working somewhere. I forget. I think we had an office before we joined you in the Lipstick Building. Joe calls me up. He goes, "Listen, we're working on a pipeline deal and some issue with pipeline." Joe calls me up. He goes, "Look, I got something in California. Can you be there tomorrow?" I'm like, "No." I didn't know. Next thing I know, I'm in California for the next 2 years.
Yeah. One of, like, we really, what's and again, back to the book and why like I'm interested. I want young people to go into this field, the turnaround field, the restructuring field, the distress.
I've never heard of it until today.
Look, we took a company, and really, I say we, Mark deserves the credit. We took a company that was backed by a major venture fund, Alan Patrikoff's fund, and we took it from being literally out of business to being a profitable security integrator. And sadly, we really should have bought that business, but we were advisors. But sadly, the people we handed it over to just gunked it up and screwed it.
Are you still with this firm right now?
No, I'm not.
You went out on your own?
Well, so I took that firm, and I've been involved in a lot of restructurings as an advisor, but the part of the business that interested me the most is the investing part. And, look, to Mark's credit, to turn around a company, I think like people can do it, but it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But, and again, I think, not to reminisce too much, but I was just so green at that point in time. If we ever came across that opportunity again, be like, all right, I'm running, we got the investment, and let's go,
It's never hard to get money. It's hard to get people to really grind. No, to grind and do the heavy lifting. Hey, how do I get my cash flow to obviously to my assets to exceed my liabilities, my cash to exceed my expenses? That's hard.
It was a tremendous experience. We were in court. We were threatened in court.
You've been in the court a lot.
Well, this is actually the only time that I actually had to I was sworn in.
Sworn in.
And I sat. There was like 2 questions, but we sat on the chair and it sank all the way down. Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
But remember, there was a conflict right outside the courtroom.
My best memory is when we knew we fixed this thing. Mark and his staff and me, we were all right outside of Disneyland, and we were in a hot tub at 2 a.m. Just because you really feel, look, you save jobs.
We won.
You save jobs. Well, that's a big deal. You do save jobs.
You help people's families. You make a difference in the world. And I always say, look, yes, it's nice to make money. It's nice to do all those things.
We all love
money. But you want to affect others.
Difference.
You want to make a difference.
So after, so we go through the Tri-X phases.
Yeah.
And Tri-X is sort of still around, or?
It is still around.
So take me through.
So basically, I did a lot after you left. I did quite a few restructurings, including probably the most famous or signature of a kosher meat plant that did about 300 million of revenues in Iowa that was raided by ICE for a variety of things.
And this is before ICE was ICE, right?
No, ICE was.
This is when ICE was ICE.
Okay.
This is when ICE was ICE.
Exactly. And that business is, and that was 17 or 18 years ago. That business is still around today. Thousands of people and families in the Midwest and across the U.S. are still employed. And candidly, that really was a turning point for me in the sense that the people who had come to buy that plant, who I sold that plant to, asked me and my team to run it, to buy it. And under the government regulations, we weren't allowed to do that. And I said, wow, this is really ridiculous. We lived here in Iowa in the dead of winter.
You lived there?
I did. 30 degrees below zero, that kind of thing. And, all we have to show for it is a paycheck, effectively.
Right.
So I basically formed this trading business. And for 6 years, I traded bought and sold debt, Madoff debt, and other debt like that.
So let me ask you, just bringing it to simple terms.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge crypto guy, but I have a Coinbase account.
Yeah.
And when you talk about trading debt, how would someone even go about doing that?
So, one, there are a ton of hedge funds that love a certain type of debt. They like big positions. Today, there's a company called Linkdo that's in bankruptcy. They basically effectively own private equity positions and have all of these retail investors involved with it. People can buy and sell claims.
But even like a normal, unaccredited investor?
People out there in the world. And part of what this book is about is, hey, there's this whole alternative investment world that the average Joe can be involved in.
What was, if I said, what's the best claim that you ever bought?
Well, Madoff was an unbelievable.
Because everyone got repaid, right? Madoff was 100%?
Yes. Well, not everybody, but most people. Madoff was an unbelievable trade. But I'd say,
But when you say an unbelievable trade, so if you bought something, say like 10 cents on the dollar and sold it for 80 cents, something like that's what you're referring.
Just held it until a bankruptcy plan of reorganization paid out.
I see.
That was really good. Stanford International Bank, which was a 10-year hold period, was really, really good.
Paid out?
Paid out.
And so when
not in full,
so if someone was investing, it's not the type of thing where you're going in and out. It's really more of a patient type investment.
It is a patient, but there are some things that are shorter term. There are some opportunities that can pay out in months.
Right.
I sort of look at the world as like, let's call it 0 to 6 months, 6 to 18, and 18 and longer.
Is the 18 and longer the higher risk?
It's not.
Or the better payout?
It could be a better payout. Because, for instance, in Stanford, you could buy claims for 7 cents that will end up paying 40 cents. Now, you got paid along the way.
And how do you get so again, just think. So
what is there, dark web somewhere? Come on.
No.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so how do you,
The beauty is social media, like everything is accessible to everyone. Go on Reddit, go on, some website.
YouTube would basically, you could even.
For the most part, like stuff like that's not on YouTube.
Yeah. Got it.
But
we don't need a TikTok
be
or
part of a professional organization where attorneys are representing these people. Follow a court docket. I mean, again, the roadmap is all in this book. It's all there. This isn't magic. This isn't like, Joe has the secret sauce.
Right.
I don't. I'm just an average Joe, so to speak.
Average Joe. Secret sauce. I mentioned that in my book, The Secret Sauce.
Did you ever stumble on? Well, is there one claim that you were like, oh shit, this was a really bad one, and it was just a loss?
Look, you don't win on everything. The whole key to distressed investing is covering your downside. And I'll just give you a sense.
Right.
Like if you take something like for instance, Sears filed bankruptcy. The general unsecured claims got paid nothing. There was a level of claim called an administrative claim that got paid 80 cents.
What's the difference between an admin versus unsecured?
Well, an admin is technically unsecured, but an admin claim is if you were a vendor providing Sears merchandise post.
Got it.
Date that they filed, which was October 15th, 2008, you were entitled to administrative status.
Got it.
And you could buy those claims, those Sears claims, and I did for, let's call it 25 cents on the dollar. If you got paid 2 years later, 80 cents, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's very good.
One of the things I learned learning bankruptcy, correct me if I'm wrong on this, there's something called preference. And so when I first got involved, one of the things the lawyers would ask for is any payments that were made 90 days before bankruptcy. So why? That's a preference. Those payments can be recalled. company, you could be paid as a vendor and owe money when the company files bankruptcy.
Wow.
How about that?
Get sued for it.
How about that?
That sounds not right.
I think, look, the key, and there are 6 rules I say for, buying distressed debt. The key rule, the most important rule, is to buy right. So how do you buy right? How do you buy right, Eddie?
Do your research.
Due diligence.
Reach out to your world. Hey, you know about this? Have you heard about this? Get a little on the street info, so to speak. Could be nothing. Could be, oh, I heard.
Correct. And like the same principles you're teaching in your sales are the same principles I follow. There's lawyers, there's accountants, there's, professional organizations. And if you're talking to those people who are associated with, let's call it right now, Saks Fifth Avenue, major trouble, major trouble. Right. They haven't paid their vendors in 6 to 9 months. Okay.
They're not in bankruptcy yet, right?
They're not in bankruptcy, but
they will be.
They might be. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say they will be. They just raised more debt.
Right.
But, you need to be networking. You need to be laying all the traps that you lay in your business. They're not traps. You're meeting people. You're talking.
Putting down the breadcrumbs, man. Right. Putting down the breadcrumbs.
So after you're doing all the trading the client, is this now what your full focus in your business is all about right now?
I have like 2 major businesses. One is our law firm, and our law firm collects commercial judgments. We buy them and we collect them. And this is a crazy stat, which most people don't know. 80% of commercial judgments go uncollected. So
what is a commercial judgment?
Let's talk about one of my favorite cases. The senator from West Virginia, Jim Justice, owns a coal company. He also owns a hotel in West Virginia.
It makes sense. It makes sense that you're coal from West Virginia, so I'm following so far.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. He owes our client $13 million. Okay. He owes a bunch of other people almost $1 billion. He doesn't like to pay his bills on time,
if at all.
Whether he has the money or not, we could debate it. His judgment was given to our law firm, or our law firm was engaged to collect, and we saw that he was flying a helicopter between Roanoke and somewhere in West Virginia every day. And we said, you know what? That helicopter's probably worth $1.5 million, something like that. How do we grab it? Legally, not physically.
No, I know what you're saying.
And we went into court and we got that helicopter sold. And we did it. It took us about 6 months to do it. It's complex. And we got our client paid in part. Now we have to get our client paid the balance. But a commercial judgment is that $13 million judgment we have against, it's called Bluestone Coal. Mm-hmm. It's not against Jim Justice personally, but as we know, in America, many people hide behind their corporate entities.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And it's easy to set up an entity.
But that $13 million, that was unsecured?
That was unsecured.
Got it. Okay.
Now, that has become a huge business for us, and one I like a lot, and now I'll tie into SLX markets. We said to ourselves, how do we get more commercial judgments? We don't want a judgment. We're not looking to take away someone's house.
Right.
We don't want the mortgage judgment.
Right.
We want a judgment against a company that has defaulted in payment, and SLX markets allows us, one, to get the word out through social media that, hey, there's this exchange. And by the way, a former mentor of mine, a former boss of mine, taught me, hey, there's nothing wrong sometimes with being a seller. You might like to be a buyer, but you could be a seller too.
Sure.
Why be a seller? Because the price is right.
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 If
somebody wants to pay me more for my, FTX claim than I think I need to hold it for, fine, I'll sell it. If someone wants to pay me more for my judgments, fine. And right now in America, there's a huge amount of cash out there. Huge.
Because no one takes cash anymore.
Huge amount of investable capital.
Are you, based on the current environment of America and all this potential investment coming in and all this different changes, what's your view on the future, especially with your business right now?
Look, I love America. I believe like we're the best country in the world. I think opportunity is here. And most importantly, and this goes to both bankruptcy and non, our judicial system works. It works fairly efficiently. Yes, sometimes justice is slow. Things take longer than we'd like, but it works. And for the most part, I don't have to pay anyone to make sure it works. Meaning I'm not tipping some.
You don't have any lobbyists?
No
lobbyists?
But do you know how we go in bankruptcy? Is this like a 7-year cycle or so?
Sure.
Where do you think we are in that cycle right now?
We have way too much debt in this country. Way too much. Commercial real estate is under a lot of stress.
Right, 2027 is what they're saying potentially is where you might see some of that. Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, and most commercial loans are 5-year loans, and they were made over 5 years ago, there's a lot of, and I know this for a fact, there's a lot of debt that's just sitting there. And often it's judgments that are just sitting there.
Right.
And look, I'm not going to be critical of President Trump. The tariffs have created a lot of stress on businesses, a lot. I think he genuinely wants the U.S. economy to succeed. I agree with him.
It's time to stop giving everyone a free ride.
But Powell's got to lower the rates. I mean,
all right. Well, we are wound down to our last question.
I get it.
Right.
We are there.
Beautiful.
So the last question, if you could dine anyone in history, alive or dead, who would you like to have a dinner with?
Wow.
Anyone.
I'd say Abe Lincoln.
Second Abe Lincoln.
Interesting.
Wow. Didn't we have Abe Lincoln last week?
We've had a lot of interesting responses on this, yeah.
More books have been written about Abe Lincoln
Than the Kennedys?
I think than any figure in history. I mean, his like, it just seemed like he had a good moral compass.
Pretty
How
cool.
about you?
Mine was Jesus Christ.
Wow. Okay.
Love to, hang out, drink some wine, walk on water with him for a little bit.
Wow. How about you, Mark?
My dad. Yeah, that's simple. Yeah, easy. Yeah, but no one's ever asked me, but yeah, that'd be my dad. Yeah.
So talk to the camera. What's the next conference you're going to be at? People should look for you at.
Well, the fall always is a busy time, so it'll either be like the Turnaround Management Conference in New Orleans.
Oh, maybe. You never know.
Yeah. Or, like one of the American Bankruptcy Institute conferences.
Okay.
Where can we find your book?
Book is on Amazon, but if you want an autographed copy, you got to go to the website, DistressedInvestingPlaybook.com.
Awesome.
Excellent. Good answer. And if they wanted to reach out to you to hire you or sell you stuff, you want to give a number? Or
hit me up on LinkedIn, Instagram.
Spell your name out for the audience.
Well, my name is Joseph Sarachek, Sarachek. And I love LinkedIn.
I see a lot of stuff out there.
I get a lot of professional interaction on there.
Where can we find you, Mark?
Mark Simson, SEM Holdings, all your outsourced loss prevention needs as need be. Also, any other security needs, 917-414-4027.
I'm Eddie Pods, your host. I'm looking to come into your office and get your troops in line for the next trade show or conference. Do the pregame, do the during game, do the after game. Get some ROI. Get some more ROI.
We like ROI.
We like ROI. You can find me at eddiepods@gmail.com or 631-334-8587. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time.
you.